are y'all doing today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Although we are here for a sad reason.
Yeah, we are.
So we are here in representing our client Lou Garner,
Yes.
and you all are representing
Chris Krausen.
Okay.
Yes. We are very sad to be here today. We just wanted to go ahead and open up and say,
how sorry
how sorry we are for Jordan.
in this whole accident. Very unfortunate.
I mean, Chris and Jordan were longtime friends, and they vacation every year together. They're just obviously great friends, and I know that Chris is devastated by the loss of Jordan. And he wanted us today, I guess, to first off say that he wants to write a full letter of apology to Lou, and just to kind of explain, and just because Chris feels like he just hasn't been able to talk to Lou since the accident, just because things have been kind of tense, what with everything, and Chris just feels like it would be best to write a full letter of apology, kind of explaining where he's coming from. So he's definitely more than happy. Just wanted to go ahead and put that he wants to do that for Lou.
Well, that'd be great. I'm sure Lou would be very happy about that.
Did you all just want to make sure we're all on the same page? Maybe just go over some of the facts of that day to make sure that we're all on the same page regarding our clients.
Yes.
So the accident happened in June 30th in
Yes.
Michigan, in the Michigan's June State Park, and
Yes.
according to our client, Jordan and your client were both driving the sand rails when the accident occurred.
You mean the dune buggies?
Same thing.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
So yes.
So the off-road vehicles.
Yes. Yes. Excuse me.
Yes. No. You
We don't drive them very often
No,
in Virginia.
People have
so.
different names for those. Exactly. So Jordan and Chris were the drivers of the off-road vehicles.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
From our understanding, the two were engaged in kind of racing and horsing around on that day.
And it was a windy day.
It was a windy day. I know that Lou said that before they went out that conditions were supposed to be dangerous, and I guess we don't know where Lou got that information from.
I think they just noticed
The
wind.
They noticed, and I believe, according to our client, the whatever state agent that was at the state park had warned them that the weather was a little bit windy that
Right.
day.
There was a warning for them to be careful. I think.
Right. Okay.
And so then while they were racing, according to our client, Chris had apparently motioned back to them that they wanted to race, and while they were racing, some sort of debris came up in front of Jordan's dune buggy, and at this point, Jordan and Lou's dune buggy was in front, somewhat in front of Chris and Taylor's dune buggy,
Right.
and then Jordan had to swerve to avoid that debris, and then she had to swerve back because apparently there was a ravine on one side, and at that point there was a collision.
Well, go
Right.
ahead.
Our facts showed that at the first swerve that your client's deceased was knocked out of the dune buggy, and then our client was unable to stop in time to avoid a collision.
So from our understanding,
From my understanding,
Jordan, their dune buggy flipped over.
right.
And as Jordan was avoiding the tumbleweed
Okay.
that was flying across.
Right.
And so because of that, their dune buggy flipped over, and then Chris
And then
couldn't
there was
stop
an unavoidable collision.
Okay, so
So they
you're saying that
collided with the dune buggy. They
after
didn't-
it was flipped
after.
over.
Okay.
Right.
And so you're saying who was thrown out of the dune buggy? Lou
Jordan.
was?
Jordan.
I don't think he was thrown out the dune
It will. Yeah, he was like. I mean, it flipped over, so he was.
Right.
The
Okay, so let's
information,
get,
the information, I'm possibly where some of this is,
Right.
maybe a little bit different, is that our client had blacked out during,
Okay.
and the
Yeah, he was
information
not
was
very
that from the
conscious.
best of his recollection was that the two vehicles had collided, but it sounds like was when Jordan ejected from the dune buggy, was she run over by,
No, our client collided with the back of the dune buggy.
okay, so
She was still on the dune buggy.
still on the dune buggy,
Okay.
okay,
It
So-
had just fallen over, so they're kind of half on, half
Well,
off
yeah.
the dune
Yeah.
buggy.
Okay.
So,
okay.
So,
But her death was still caused by the collision of
it's unclear.
right.
Because they had
our
flipped
facts,
over.
We couldn't come with clear causation of that. We just do know that there was the initial swerve, which caused Jordan's dune buggy to flip, and at that point, I mean, they're riding pretty close together and going really fast, and there was a collision.
Mhm.
That's what we know.
and
So how long was your client blacked out for?
he hasn't given us his medical reports,
Right.
so we're not aware
Mhm.
of how long he
Okay.
was unconscious.
That makes
but
sense.
he said when he woke up, he was out of the dune buggy, and Chris and Taylor were both there, and Jordan was dead by that point.
Right.
And then-
And so when our client, I apologize,
No.
and our client, when he got to the dune buggy, like got off the dune buggy after the collision, he realized that, Chris realized that Jordan was dead. So
Okay.
I guess we really don't know exactly
Right.
when in the flipping and the colliding that, the death occurred.
Right.
So.
And just to be clear, our current client is still alive,
Mhm.
was still in the dune buggy at this point. They're both still in the dune buggy.
Yes.
Jordan
They're
or
both
Lou
still
hadn't
in-
been thrown out or anything.
No.
Lou?
No.
No.
And then finally, the last piece of information that we received from our client was that, your client's vehicle was traveling at about 67 miles an hour,
Yes.
and then our client's vehicle was traveling at 63?
Yes.
Okay, great.
That was what the road listed on there. So at the time of impact. Right. Okay.
So
Okay.
our client told us of his wish to settle this, to try and come to an agreement out of court.
Okay.
We just we really don't have a clear estimate of what your client might want in terms of a settlement. So
Well, we were thinking since Jordan was the main breadwinner of the household, as you know, she was a lawyer making a substantial sum of money, and while Lou was working, Jordan was definitely bringing home most of the money provided for the household.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to the loss of consortium from losing his wife, or husband, or what that better, and the loss of a parent, we were thinking around $3 million.
Oh.
We know that your client is a novelist, and she had a substantial inheritance that she was.
how much
Just
was Jordan making?
she was making about $250,000 a year.
In the millions is really unreasonable for our client. It's really, really unreasonable for our client. They've had really bad financial situation lately because of the accident. They've had, our client's wife was a
She's
lawyer.
also an attorney. Taylor is also an attorney. And
And is receiving like a lot of bad, I guess, a lot of bad reputation because of the accident. So like their income has substantially been reduced.
Did she
because of
lose her
that.
job because of the accident, or is she
I think
just-
she's just being affected client-wise, and she's
Okay.
not making as much,
she's making a mere fraction of what she was.
a lot less than before. But even if she was making the same, I
Well,
think in the millions would be.
One thing we would like to do to mitigate your concern that, I mean, so that your client's reputation has gone down, we would like to include, if you want, a confidentiality agreement
Yes.